Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the latest, one of the latest stage, I think this is stage 5 of the Mortal Will and Divine Wrath event. So essentially this is the latest stage to come to DBZ Dokkan Battle, and essentially you are just facing the Super Saiyan God, the SS, Vegeta and Goku, but you are facing them with them being tech type. So it's pretty interesting, I would say. Obviously it's, technically speaking, I would say it's a fight that you want to take on with mono-type units. You can see that we're running, especially a mono-type team. But there's also another caveat in that you cannot take it on with super class units. So ideally you want to use extreme units, because extreme units essentially do additional damage. Super units have damage reduced, so it's actually a little bit of a hindrance to use super class units. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. In terms of team build, pretty straightforward one. We are using the int cell. So we're using the int perfect cell, obviously an android cell saga lead, but he is also a 120% int type lead, which is really helpful when we're trying to run this team. We're then also using a couple of free to play units. We have the int Deborah, obviously from the Bubba shop after his recent Extreme Z awakening. He's a pretty good int type support with relatively solid defense after super. It's nothing crazy, but in general he's quite solid and consistent, I would say, without being, too overtly crazy. I think overall he's just a very solid unit, and so we tend to have a pretty good time with using him. Outside of that, pretty much nothing too crazy. Honestly, taking a look at, of course, the Deborah and the Babidi and Martian Vegeta, a very solid unit as well, obviously from the anniversary, so that's a pretty decent time. Of course, something to just kind of focus on when we talk about Babidi and Deborah is the utilization of that, Babidi and Martian Vegeta is the utilization of that Martian Vegeta skill. So yeah, essentially we do want to make sure that we utilize that properly, make sure that we use the standby skill at the appropriate time, and of course collect the appropriate amount of orbs to best utilize that active skill, or the end active portion of it, to do significant damage. We then have the int Android 16, a really good unit when his guard is activated, who has incredibly high levels of defense. So when his guard is activated, he has 60% damage reduction. And with it being a fight against super tech units, his guard is always activated. So in theory, we basically always have him with a very high level of defense. Alongside that, we're also using the int Metal Cooler Army from the Battlefield shop, which is a fairly solid unit as well after the EZA. A Artificial Lifeforms defensive support, but that's nothing too crazy. And essentially, just does some pretty good damage. And then the final unit that we have is the int Shadow Dragon Legion unit, and this is a fairly solid unit that just does a very good job being a floater with pretty solid, with pretty solid buffs, I would say, after the with pretty solid buffs after the super. So pretty decent defense after he supers, fairly good consistent unit in that regard. Obviously his debuffing mechanisms don't work so well, but in general I think he's in a good space. I think he's a pretty decent unit, and yeah, I for one think he's quite solid. At least from me, I think overall he's a pretty good unit, and yeah, he could be relatively solid. So yeah, that's basically it. When you look at, obviously like units in general. I think for me, when I look at the like power of the team, I think the team overall is in a very good space. I think it does a pretty good job. And yeah, obviously the tech god duo do hit pretty hard, so that's something to be aware of. But it's okay because we do have heals, so they don't hit too hard to the point of us being insta-killed. And this lets us kind of activate Cell's heals, and just kind of lets us, sit in a pretty solid position. And then once you get Cell to heal, he then is a pretty rock solid unit. So yeah, overall some really good stuff. Honestly speaking, I think he's just a very, very good unit, and he kind of hard carries us, damage wise, through the leader skill. Just everything about him is obviously super solid. The two items we're using are Ghost Usher and the Whis, and that tend to work out pretty well. The reason we bring a Ghost Usher is because we kind of want to take damage, and then we might want to skip to a turn where we have a Cell on rotation so we can heal, and obviously get him to do some big damage. But yeah, that's basically it. Everything's pretty sorted from that perspective. So yeah, that's basically going to be it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and of course, I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, as always, take care, stay safe, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. Give me a shout if you need any help. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, take care, stay safe, and yeah, that's it from me. But as always, we do our best. So that's gonna be it from me. Bye.